Hello everyone, welcome back to Luke's TV Talk, where I go over some of the most recent TV episodes I've been watching. And for this episode, I'll be looking at House of the Dragon Episode 3. Before I start, make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future episodes. So let's get into this. So the episode starts with the war against the crab feeder, and Daemon riding Caraxes and burning through a lot of people. So there's a really cool scene where it starts off where the crab feeder's nailing people into like little crucifixes on the beach, and Caraxes basically appears out of the dark and just starts burning through everyone. And it's really cool because it shows how intimidating Caraxes and Daemon are, because all the crab feeder soldiers run away and hide in caves, and Daemon is just shouting at them like, "Come out and fight me!" and they're all just hiding. So you can tell that Daemon is a force to be reckoned with. The crab feeder forces are trenched out in caves, out of reach, and shower Daemon with arrows, causing him to retreat. We find there's been a 3-year time jump. Viserys and Alicent have had their first child, Aegon, and Alicent is pregnant with her second child. Rhaenyra has almost become estranged, and shows that she dislikes having to interact with her father and Alicent. So basically every time she comes into contact with her father now, he's trying to get her set up with someone, and then Alicent is trying to get Rhaenyra to talk to her father and take part in royal meetings and stuff, but Rhaenyra is just not even wanting to get involved, and she just sits out by I think it's the weirwood tree. She just sits out there and just reads, because she knows that now that Aegon's here, she has become less important to the majority of people in the kingdom. To celebrate Prince Aegon's second birthday, the royal hunt is arranged with all houses taking part. We meet our first Lannister, who comes on to Rhaenyra offering marriage. This angers her, and she argues with her father and leaves on horseback. So Kristen accompanies her, and while out in the woods, they kill a boar. This is a really cool segment because Rhaenyra and Sir Kristen are basically just camping out more than anything, just out in the woods with a little bonfire. And there's a really tense moment in the woods where you don't know what's happening, and the horses are like making little like muttery noises, and it's like, oh, what's going on here? And it's a really cool, tense scene that you don't see very often. During this, Viserys kills a stag for the hunt. Many people have been discussed to marry Rhaenyra, from the Lannisters to Lenore Valerian and even Prince Aegon. I know a lot of people are going to hate this, but the one that suggested Prince Aegon was Otto, because obviously he wants his descendants to be the kings of the kingdom. So he's like, oh yeah, make my grandson the heir to the, well, not heir to the throne, but marry into that. So he's very conniving, and even Viserys is like, what? He's 2, calm down. And Otto has to back off because he knows he's probably overstepped it a bit. But yeah, everyone's getting told, oh yeah, you should marry Rhaenyra, oh they should marry Rhaenyra. And even Viserys at this point is starting to get annoyed with how many people are just throwing themselves into the ring for the new king consort. Viserys tells Rhaenyra he wants her to be happy and to pick her own husband. This kind of helps their relationship because they've been on frosty terms for a while now, and you can see when he mentions this, it kind of eases Rhaenyra a bit, and she doesn't have such a annoyed look on her face. She kind of calms a bit because she knows that her father does care for her. Even though he's been trying to set her up, he does want her to be happy at the end of the day. Otto was worried his grandson won't be chosen as heir, and we also see the king is missing 2 fingers now. So Otto is obviously worried about Aegon not becoming king, so he's trying to get Alicent to convince Viserys. And when that happens, you see that he's lost 2 of his fingers now, and it's pretty gruesome because in that last episode, obviously his finger was black. And it's obviously spreading to the rest of his hand, so is he going to lose his whole hand or something? That's going to look really gruesome. At the end, Viserys offers to help Daemon to end the war, but this enrages Daemon, who storms the crab feeder's base with Lord Corlys' forces and cuts him in 2. We even see a new dragon, Lenore Valerian's one. So this was a really cool ending because basically Daemon reads the letter and is like, I don't want any help. I got myself into this, I'm going to finish it. I don't want any help or anyone to think I'm weak or anything. So he beats up the messenger, gets by himself, rows a boat over, and just starts wailing away at the soldiers, very much like Jon Snow in the Battle of the Bastards. He just starts wailing away, cutting everyone down. He gets a couple of arrows in him, but that's when the rest of the army arrive to help. And then he follows the crab feeder into the cave and just comes out holding half of him after he's cut him in 2. It is gruesome, but really cool. And it's always good to see a new dragon, so that's the 3rd one of this season. Okay, so it's great to see the tension building between everyone. So obviously Viserys is, as we all know, he's not the best king, and his decision making is very flip-floppy. He's trying to get Rhaenyra set up, but he also wants to be happy, her to be happy, and he's trying to make a middle ground, and everyone's like either side, and he can't win. Rhaenyra is just in the middle of everyone. Like, oh yeah, Aegon should be king, and then everyone's basically forgotten Rhaenyra now. So the tension is building between the succession. It's going to be really interesting when they, because obviously the actors get aged up, and maybe the next 2 episodes probably. So it's going to be interesting to see when they get aged up how the tension is really going to hit a new height between who's going to be the new heir to the throne. So Viserys is trying to compromise for everyone, as I said. So he's trying to please Otto, please Alicent, please Rhaenyra. He basically just spends a good portion of the hunt. He spends drunk because he's just like, I've had enough. I've had enough of listening to these people muttering and moaning about my son and daughters, and he just wants to live in peace and not have to worry about all this nonsense. But it's going to come back to bite him in the end, I'm thinking. So the dragons are awesome as always, and obviously we get the new one. I think I heard it's called White Smoke. I'm not too sure though, but it's a really cool. Like, it's got a very like a dirty white color, almost like a grey scaled look to it, and it looks really cool. And it's a bit smaller than obviously Daemon's Caraxes, and more about the size of Syrax, I think. So it's cool to see we're getting a new section of dragons. Hopefully, when they get aged up a bit more, we get a few other dragons, and we have a full-on dragon fight at some point, because that would be awesome. So the tension in the forest was really unnerving. When I mentioned before about Sir Criston and Rhaenyra in the forest, like they hear the horses murmuring. He gets his sword out and goes to look, and there's a good like 10 to 20 seconds of him looking into the forest and no noise. And then out of nowhere, this boar comes charging through. It's really tense because you don't know, oh, so Criston gonna die? Someone gonna try and kill Rhaenyra? Because at the end of the day, this is Game of Thrones. That could happen. But no, it was a boar, and it just comes charging and attacks them. Crazy, like tense. So the Game of Thrones continues, like everyone trying to position themselves to be next in line or get their family next in line, and I can only imagine it's going to get more crazy as the series goes on, with people backstabbing and outwitting each other, and I'm gonna be interested to see who gets the better of each other. So Daemon continues to be a badass that we all love to hate. Like, we all know he's a bit of a smug character and a bit of a cutthroat, and does not want to listen to anyone or take orders. And even when the king's like, "Oh, I'll help you," Daemon can't even come to the thought of like, I need help. No, he doesn't want to ever think that. He wants to do it by himself and beat the hell out of anyone that would ever insist that he needs help. And he basically goes into that island and cuts through everyone just to make a point that he is not the one that needs help here. Viserys is the weak king, and Daemon is the almighty killer of crab feeders. The only negative episode was that the crab feeder got killed off a bit easily and quickly, because we've only had him mainly for 1 episode, because the other times it's been like the end of the episode we get a scene, but this was the main episode we get to see it. And he was basically on the cave entrance and just stood there ordering troops to go out, not saying a word. And then at the end of the episode, he walks into the cave, and Daemon comes out with him cut in half. And it's like, oh, that was a bit easy, wasn't it? He came out really like weak in the end. He was just like, oh yeah, I order these people around and then I die quickly. Which was the only bummer, really, because I thought we'd be a bit more of an antagonist for that throughout the season. But I guess that's going to be the other Targaryens fighting each other, really. So Crabfeeder was kind of like a stopgap between the Targaryens fighting each other. Yeah, overall, apart from that one negative, I love this episode, especially the fighting with Daemon. The continued Game of Thrones feel and the fight for the throne is always going to be compelling to watch, and I can't wait to see how it escalates over the next few episodes. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this episode. If you did enjoy the episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future uploads. And until next time, I will see you all later.